I'm the one leading the team to the playoffs. Well, most of y'all
let's see. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I don't even see how that's an issue. Can you hear anything now?
Still saying they can't hear?
I think I'm about to check and see for sure. Okay, there we go. We're back. I don't know what was going on. That was weird. That is so not professional. These things do happen. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry, y'all. That's certainly not something that we like to do or anything like that. That's weird. Black soul, got face, make a wave, ain't no way to spend that pen and dropping at the flick of the wrist. I'm just flexing, but give you positive. I'm always living. It might be because the connection is changing up. I don't know. It's so strange. It should,
you have the same, like, is it not the same settings? To choose. Like, does not have the same mic and audio settings?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it sounds. I don't need gimmicks for that. So weird. The connection was seemingly strong. Kind of weird.
So going in and out.
Right.
Oh yeah. We probably gonna. I don't want to. Okay.
I know. Kind of throw us off there. Humans react while I sit out. Fighting with so many obstacles till I found out I've been in my own way. Wow. All of my fortunes been face down, or rather reverse.
People saying they still can't hear it or
what? Y'all still hear us?
Type something in the chat.
I always wonder what it's worth. Get the price and get the hers. Do it, thrive, do it, die. Remain on stuff, I chase survive. Struggle daily, nothing chasing vice. Cloud money, fame, and the hoes. Getting ignorant, bread with the woes. Living fast, never getting old. Boy, they say Peter Pan. I will never wait on you to be a man. You can take the time to lead a proper life.
What's up, Terrell?
Be a fan. Don't get the trip in the sand. I'm preaching. This is reality. Take it or
that's another one.
All the normalcy, because more importantly, poverty is breaking even. Try to
Say
rush
that
through
one.
life day and night, never been too acquainted with pain.
It is that one.
Keep in mind all the time, I'm alive. I don't need no deception to make. In the back,
I hear you guys for sure, but it's cutting in and out. Looking into Restream Connect issues, see if I can say something to help you. Thanks, bro.
Try to rush through my life day and night, never
I mean, it's all good because I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, but I mean, I still appreciate the talk.
In the back, cook the crack, make the speaker shut when I freestyle up the taste. Who bag, cool, real.
Pretty sure that's right. I don't think it's a settings issue.
I gotta ride, I gotta shine.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I said I gotta live, I gotta work, I gotta grind.
Now, the funniest thing is that the Wi-Fi works just fine on my phone.
I said I gotta live, I gotta
Said we're
work,
good now.
I gotta
Okay.
grind, I gotta shine.
Yeah, we don't know what happened. That was weird.
I said I gotta live, I gotta
No, I mean, the network just went out. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole network went out.
Right. And why? After this, it ain't gonna give us no problems. I'm willing to bet it. I think I might know why, because I did try to change one of the settings on the audio and have it like high resolution audio. But I think that might have just overpowered maybe. I don't know. It might have just overpowered action. But just so, that's my bad. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of that I did different. But it looked like my thing was just spazzing out for a second. I didn't know what was going on. It was so strange. But, you know, technology being what it is. You never know anymore.
Still out with the audio.
No, I think it's good. I was literally looking about how resolution size can bog screen quality. Yeah, so that might have been it.
I mean,
Either way,
I don't think it's a resolution issue.
I think it's cleared up now, though. You guys good. Thought you guys for handling this well. Yeah, look, I mean, it's life. It's just part of what we do. Technical difficulties come with the territory. But since you're here, since you and Magic System are here, has there been a time where y'all have experienced an instance of someone being unprofessional, or where you felt like you were being unprofessional? I had stated that as a question in one of the streams, but let me see. I might be able to copy and paste that on there. I don't know what happened, my G.
Oh, no, I'm getting feedback that audio's still cutting in and out.
Yeah. It is what it is. Mine still. It can't be active still. Yeah, that's weird. But I was hoping I could actually find it. I'll just type it again. It ain't no thing. So basically, actually, I got a better way of saying it.
Be careful what you sow, keep the company you keep. All that money can't save you, death will take you when you sleep. We know sleep is a cousin of death. Close your eyes and you lay you to rest. We know sleep is a cousin of death. Close your eyes and you lay you to rest. We know sleep is a cousin of death. Close your eyes and you lay you to rest. We know sleep is a cousin of death. Close your eyes and you lay you to rest.
Yeah, I'm being told it's still cutting in and out and skipping.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
that's weird.
yo, we're probably gonna shut it down just because I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't want people trying to watch a stream where the quality is dipping in and out. Don't.
But I will answer these two, where they said. Tristan Arnold said, "I've been struggling with professionalism recently, and I feel like it goes both ways. I have a hard time being professional with unruly customers, especially in situations where I feel threatened.
And then Magic System said, yes, with someone being unprofessional, and me too, a decade ago, I slept with a manager of mine. Okay, well, there's honesty. I mean, and the main goal of really talking about this is emphasizing the importance of professionalism when it comes to what we do, like whenever we work in our various vocations, work schedules, things like that. Once you punch that clock, I'm not going to necessarily say that you got to be a different person, but you certainly have to carry yourself in a way that is or might be markedly different from the way you are normally. And that's just because you have an expectation of how you're supposed to conduct yourself. And I actually appreciate you guys not only talking about moments where somebody was that way towards you, but also when you were that way to someone else or conducted yourself in a way that wasn't, about the right. Because that's something that's hard to admit. There are times where I struggle with trying to remain professional, especially in a situation when you're in a situation where it seems like everyone else is trying to not be professional. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That causes a whole lot of problems and a whole lot of issues. I'm sure you did had a few moments like that being a manager.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of just comes with the territory.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. I mean,
yeah. And I mean, it just truly be like that. Like sometimes it causes issues, problems, whatnot. And the thing about it is that a lack of professionalism will always sour the relationship or dynamic that you have with individuals that you're working with. Why? Because it causes them to ease up and act differently around you. It causes them to carry themselves in a different way around you. It causes them to maybe or maybe not, because sometimes it doesn't happen this way. It causes them to possibly have a reason to not be as respectful to you, as transparent, they might be more transparent, but as agreeable with you, in that in some ways unprofessionalism levels the playing field. So if you are in a professional setting where you're supposed to be the person who is the resident expert or the person who is offering aid or assistance, they may not trust in your ability to be helpful as much because you're conducting yourself in a way that's not quite unlike them.
Fair point. I always say that, there's definitely an element of respect, as I said earlier, that's associated with the professionalism. So for the most part, a lot of people just look at it for simply being that, like also respect. And I think that's why we do hold the professionalism to the regard that we do, because it shows that you respect the work ethic and prowess of what someone else puts into something.
Right.
I hope y'all can hear.
Right. But I know we frustrated. There are moments in my current line of work where you deal with people on both sides who are exceedingly unprofessional. Now, it's one thing if like clients or people you work with are unprofessional or disrespectful. It's expected. You just learn how to work your way around it. But when you have individuals that are being unprofessional that are supposed to be, Tristan said, "You're hurt, man. You're hurt." But that are really supposed to act in a way of being professional and being straight up. He said we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That's problematic just because of the fact that you are the professional. It's like when you are in a situation where you're dealing with somebody who may be, disrespectful, out of pocket, whatever, what have you. Your main goal is to be as professional as possible, and the reason being is because that will work to curtail a lot of that. That diffuses a lot of that negativity and a lot of that
extra noise, if you get what I'm saying. You have to be real about that sort of stuff yourself in a professional setting, and that's another you don't want to do. Like, you shouldn't be going to work talking to folks that you don't know about your personal life. You shouldn't be going to work every day spreading scandals or misinformation or whatever, rumors and whatnot.
I did not always used to ascribe to that, like many of us. And these days I'm of the opinion that I'm not at work to be people. Right. Nor am I really here to have fun.
Right.
Like, we cordial, I can respect y'all. We're gonna have small talk and stuff.
Right.
But like, for the most part, I don't consider the people that I work with my friends. They're my coworkers.
Right.
And so unless we've established like some sort of core deeper than that, and that has to happen naturally.
Yeah.
It has to happen naturally. I'm not going out of my way. If anything, I'm going out of my way to not have that kind of connection.
Right.
And I had those opinions before I was a manager, but especially now that I'm a manager, it's not in the best interest of conflict of interest for me to even be too personable.
Absolutely.
With my associates. So I kind of stay away from that. So I'm a firm believer in don't mix work with personal life. Don't mix business with pleasure. I don't really subscribe to those kind of things. You need to keep those separate. It's just easier that way.
Yeah, because a lot of things can potentially be complicated by doing that. You can end up in a lot of situations where, once again, people don't respect you on the same level. When you keep it professional, you establish a standard and give a bit of a rubric for people to follow when it comes to dealing with and engaging with you. Yeah. And if you keep this, then they will consistently engage with you in that way.
Create a standard. You set the standard for how, you set the tone to go. And if people respect you, if you're, they will show obedience.
Like the magic system said, I learned my lesson with that one. It's like, hey, look, and the other here to badger you, like, if you do have a moment where you experience of, what I'm saying, you take it with a grain of salt and you did. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're going to be in situations where somebody knocks you off your square, so to speak, or makes you act in a way that you normally would not, or in a manner that is outside character. That happens. It's totally okay. It's totally fine. You just don't want to make that a consistent thing. You know what I'm saying? And that is the thing. You don't want to make it a consistent thing that constantly comes up every time you feel that way or you are approached with a certain type of thing. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't be your default function. That's not the way to do it. I'm a strong believer in maintaining a level and a standard of professionalism at nearly all times, if it's possible. And the reason being is because when you don't carry yourself like that, you see a stark difference in how people and how give the janitor as much respect as the CEO. We should also hold that janitor to this professional expectancy. If you're doing something, if you're doing a service for somebody, or engaging in a service for somebody, you have to keep yourself in that way. That's just going to be. And honestly, it's more for you.
is the necessity. It makes it so that want to hold up a market consistency. People tend to let me say it right. People don't always people who are professional, but if that makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah. A perfect example is someone who I don't personally like, but I can kind of see where they're coming from, and I can view it objectively. Is Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels is when he's on his pivot, he is an exceeding professional individual.
Yeah.
But that does not necessarily mean that I like him as a person. That doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with everything he says. But I can view and contextualize what he says because he presents it in a certain way.
And I'm pretty of the same opinion. I don't mind him as a person. For the most part, he keeps it professional.
Right.
He has moments.
Yeah.
Just like most of us do. But you know that could be another example. But the overall general climate of the space that he occupies,
right?
You know, he projects himself in a way that lets you know that hey, we do things a certain way around here, and that's generally what it is, the status quo, if you will, right?
Right.
And also with that, just you know, you set the tone. So really, what we're really talking about is people having respect as it relates to the context of a given situation.
Right. And there are moments in which groupthink can kick in, you know. Okay.
Yeah,
you're in a situation where, well, not even so much peer pressure, is just a war of attrition where you're trying to be the professional individual and no one else is. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, you feel, you know, charged and enabled to behave in that manner as well because everyone else is.
Step aside.
All right. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is that, you know, a group thing, like you shouldn't resort to that as a way to make the best types of decisions. You have to know what you personally want, what things you desire to do for yourself. Excuse me. These allergies is getting to me. But for real though, I literally dealt with a situation that displayed an excessive amount of unprofessionalism in a context where I felt like what was needed was being very straightforward and professional, and that need was not satisfied. And I had to sit and kind of just witness it all go down. And my first thought while it was happening was, you know, all of this could have been avoided if this was done in this way, if this was done in this proper way, if this or something else was handled and addressed in a more efficient manner. And that's literally what professionalism is. The live stream ended on Facebook. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. The other one didn't reach it. Thanks, Damo. I didn't know that. We just been having technical difficulties today. I don't know what's going on for real.
Yeah, honestly, the process to put it on Facebook is a little different than everywhere else.
Yeah.
And literally, our internet really went out.
Yeah.
Like completely. And I mean, we got it back up, of course, because that's how you're able to watch it. But yes, honestly, not just when it comes to like being able to access it video-wise, but if you guys want the best resolution quality,
right,
you probably should stick to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because Facebook also caps the video resolution. They have a bandwidth restriction on it. So it's lesser quality on websites like it would be on a YouTube or on a Twitch. Just for those of y'all who don't know that.
Right. Tristan Arnold said that's kind of where I am now. Everyone is kind of leaving Moto or they don't care anymore. It's my second job and it takes a lot of my time up. My schedule isn't respected and I feel like no one cares. Yeah, and look, man, I feel like we've all been in that situation where it doesn't seem or feel like your time is being validated or properly spent dealing with certain people and certain companies and certain corporations and whatnot. And that's a very real issue to have. Like, sometimes, due to the different places that I worked at, I feel like I've gained some experience or understanding of what it is to deal with alcoholism in a professional setting. And even with that knowledge of what the possibilities could for that, it's still no less aggravating. Honestly, it's not. You still end up feeling like, dang, why you have to come just run up on me? You know, why'd you have to disrespect me like that? Why'd you have to say something like that? Like, there was a time and there was a moment in this specific example I'm talking about where I didn't speak at all really until towards the end, because I was trying to adhere to the rule that I was taught, where you just speak when spoken to in these sort of meetings. And I was asked to say something, and as I was about to, I got cut off, not once but twice. And it was by another professional who I would personally view, maybe not personally, but who I would have contextually believed was, of a higher educational caliber of me. You know what I'm saying? Which means have a higher expectation for how they behave themselves. And that didn't happen.
And to that, basically, don't assume that because the person comes from a certain background, that they're just automatically that person. Oftentimes, we find a lot of outliers when it comes to, those type of behaviors and stuff. So yeah, just be mindful of that. You can be dealing with a person that come from academia and still act like they're in the lunchroom at high school. You know what I'm saying? So we always got to be mindful of those different type of dynamics when it comes to how people should carry themselves versus how they actually do, given whatever the environment is. But the general rule of thumb, and it's funny because in ways it kind of puts you in the scope of the conversation that we had about a week and a half ago when we were talking about code switching and stuff. Some people consider that being professional, right? That if you're not professional in every walk of life or aspect of your life. So be mindful of that too. If you say you value something such as professionalism, how often do you exemplify that? Or is it just conditional based on the environment that you're in? I think that's something that we might want to also just be mindful of when we talk about professionalism as well. Because man, I tell you what, if you know me at work, you know me to be a professional person. Outside of work, you might know me to be a professional person. That might look different because it's a different environment, right? But yeah, once again, we do want to apologize for the technical difficulties and stuff that we've had tonight. Hopefully we don't have that happen next time around. I think this is the first time we ever had any real big technical difficulty. Had little things here and there, but yeah. Anybody that know me, y'all know me. I'm like, what the? But that's a part of it too. Maintaining composure, and that requires tact as well as maturity. Make sure you guys, when you get in situations, whether it be at work or at home, primarily at work, because this is where most of us will be tested in this way. Above all, make sure you remain professional. If you work in retail, you already know what that means and what that can look like. If you got a customer that's acting entitled, going off and cursing, remain tactful, remain respectful.
Right.
Show no emotion, remain sick. Maintain your professionalism. this place is not for that. This is not the environment for that.
No.
You know?
And I mean, honestly, what I usually tell people is that if you look at it and if you look at your situation or how somebody's approaching you and you think about the context of it, it's huge. Javar said the internet messing up. Nick took his braids out, didn't have him force it then, so it's his fault. Thanks, bro. See, just out of pocket. Anyway, but no, for real. Whenever you face a situation that does get that you get approached with, and somebody's coming in with a certain type of energy, first question you should ask is it really worth? One, is it worth my energy to respond? Two, is it gonna cause or bring about any substantive change if I do respond? If the answer is no to either one, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. Do not address it. Just let talk. Sometimes folk just want you to be an echo chamber, you know, and that's just the truth. Some people you deal with who act in very disrespectful manners or very unprofessional manners, they just try to treat people like echo chambers. They don't really want you to communicate back to them. They don't want you to say nothing back to them. You know, they don't want you to critique them on how they feel. You know, they want, but they insist on just being disrespectful and abrasive. One that I thought of is like, you know, if you got somebody that you're a so that probably means either aren't or you're very uncomfortable in your position as being whatever that is.
Yeah.
Especially if the implication is not made that you're not that. If it's not blatantly said, then what are you worried about? You know what I mean? And I know that's something that you will deal with in retail and fast food and a lot of areas where you directly deal with the public on different areas of their lives. And as a result, you're going to have people who will outburst. You're going to have people who are going to try and disrespect you. They're going to have people who try to get your neck for every reason but the that's going to do is, as the old folks say, call you everything but a child of God. You know what I'm saying? And you got to hold that. You know, if you're a true professional, you got to hold that and just deal with it and then just proceed on. You know, that's the best way to do it, at least in my opinion. You try to approach it head on. If you can't, then, you know, ain't nothing else to say, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, I think at the core of professionalism is maturity and respect.
Yes.
Man, there's so many other things we can add. Promptness, consistency. There's so many other things we can pour into that. But
yes.
Like we can break it down to its finest part.
I'm glad that you said that. Consistency is everything when it comes to professionalism. If you are not consistent, it's just like from children to adults. If you are not consistent with them, they will not respect what you do on the same level that they will if you are consistent. Because consistency implies that you have some measure of control over your life and over the way that you operate. Yeah. And that is something that is a drawing characteristic. If I know we talk about relationships sometimes if somebody's pursuing a mate or if somebody wants to work with you, consistency is going to be your best friend in that case, because consistency is going to teach them, okay, this person will be out here rain, sleet, hail, or snow. If they set a time for this, they will be there. Not only will they be there, they'll probably be there 5 minutes early. You know what I mean? It's all these different things that come into it that I think a lot of people do try to run or avoid. And I don't know. To me, it's just not wise to get out of your square when it comes to professionalism. The connection is a little iffy on our end. Tristan said consistency is so important in so many areas of life. Well said. Yes, and I think it's something that can apply to all areas. Professionalism being just one of them, and certainly one of the most important, depending on what it is your job description is. You know, especially if you're in a situation where you have other people's lives and livelihoods, you know, hanging in the balance of how well you do. So yes, I think something that's worthy of being taken seriously in all cases and all facets. And
Agree.
I just think that's just something that people do need to collectively work on, because a lot of us are not very good at it. You know? But it's getting but yeah, we appreciate the love.
It's a iffy. Yeah. Does this evening on Sunday night?
Put that up there. Dream connection is bad. But anywho, just because I know we might get kicked off again, we do hope that y'all have a wonderful time. Thank you, Tristan. And this is way better and way more up to par. Boundaries will be coming either on Thursday or Friday. Two. I have 2 pods coming. It kind of depends.
Or we might just do like something big.
Yeah.
We might that. Because you know what, Thanksgiving's coming.
Yeah, it's all up in the air. So anyway, you know, y'all will hear from us, and we'll keep y'all informed as we always do. But like we always do at this time, we just want to thank you for participating and sitting down and talking with the Black in a Minute podcast, sponsored by Twyman Art, which that soft opening isn't happening until later this month, isn't it? Or is it later than that?
I think it's later this month. We'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, it's later this month.
On a more specific date.
Right. But anywho, I've been NeRo, AnGeLo.
And I am the DarksKing poet. There's DarksKing with a G on the end.
And we would just like to say, hopefully you're having a great Sunday. Peace out.
Power.